What's going on, Niner fam? It is me, Peter Lucas. This is the Niner Fanatic Podcast. I got with me today TL and Miriah from 49FaithfulLee podcast. But yeah, let's get into this intro and then let's get into it. Hey, y'all. Once again, it is the Niner Fanatic Podcast. I'm Peter Lucas. We got TL and Miriah with us from 49 Faithfully. Hey, guys, I'm so happy to have y'all with. It's been, a month and a half, couple months. So it's been a long time for me. Miss y'all. And so I decided to have you guys on today. So we had a huge win, but before we get into this win, let's why don't you guys tell them where they can get all of your content, where they can find you on the socials.
Yeah, Peter, I appreciate you having us on again. You know, anytime you want us here, we'll be here. You can find us, like Peter said, 49FaithfulLee on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can find me mostly on Twitter at Miriah49Lee.
Yeah. As everybody knows, I'm looking at the comments. Everybody knows us, 49FaithfulLee podcast. I'm only on Twitter, so I can be reached at TL49er magic _23. So that's where you can find me at. I don't have Instagram or Facebook or nothing like that, but yeah, I'm always on Twitter, lurking somewhere.
Yeah, I think all of us, that's where we all met up, is Twitter and Twitter Spaces. So we had this it was a really big win in my estimation. It was a big win, but we obviously paid a pretty hefty price for the victory. So they beat the Panthers. 49ers beat the Panthers 37-15. They added some pretty big, now we have a lot of starters on the injury list. I want to start off about turf, because everybody seems to be talking about turf now. And it's something that keeps popping up. Kittle brings it up every now and then. There's other players that bring it up. But what do you guys think about turf? Is turf the only reason why our guys keep getting hurt? Or could it be something else that the 49ers just aren't doing with their conditioning program, or whatever the case? What do you think? Let's start with UTO.
I do feel like turf is an issue. As a football player, I would definitely rather play on natural grass. It's just a little easier to cut and pivot and, stuff like that on. Your cleats don't get caught as much, on the grass as it does the turf, and that's why they call it the turf monster. You know what I mean? Sometimes it'll hold you back a little bit when you're trying to make football plays. So, I mean, I don't know if it's just because I'm a 49er fan and I see the injuries, but I do lightweight feel like our teams gets injured more than anybody. I just feel like year in and year out, it's always us. I remember last year, Baltimore was the team with all the injuries. All the running backs got hurt. They had a terrible injury history, kind of like what we had in 2020. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it was just horrendous. So I don't know, man. I don't know if it's our strength conditioning program or what, but I just feel like this 49ers team, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because we're such a physical team. You know what I mean? I don't know. But it seems like we're always in the news. We're losing players every single year, But, I mean, however you do look at it, we do have, the Jason Verrett's of the world and, a couple players that we have that have been injury prone their whole career, no matter what team they've been on. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to say. I wish I was a fly on the wall, in that training room, so I can say exactly what's going on, because it does honestly feel like our team has the worst injuries in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Miriah? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree on the turf. I hate turf. Growing up playing soccer, I hated playing on turf just the same. And you bring up Kittle, and like I agree with what Kittle came out and said yesterday or whenever this week about, if teams are going to be, the whole thing I think is that these guys deserve better. Like they deserve the best. You're paying these guys millions of dollars to go out there and put the best product on the field, and you can't even give them a field that's worth a crap. And like Kittle said, if you're going to use turf, at least make them all the same turf. Like, why is it every time they go to play somewhere, they're having to switch up the surface, which means different cleats. They don't know how this turf's going to be compared to this turf, compared to that turf till they actually get there. So they have to carry different cleats, different, spikes, whatever on them, like all this other shit. And like, I won't say that turf obviously isn't to blame for all the injuries. I don't think there's one single thing that we can blame for all the injuries, but I think turf, if you look at the NFL as a whole, like not just our team, turf has a big impact on the injuries, like NFL wide. But like you said, it has to be something like, I don't know, like when the players are hurt and they come back, like we always want to blame the training staff, because who else is there to blame, right? But like the players are always talking great about the training staff.
Yeah.
Like anytime there's a player from injury, even Jason Verrett, Mike McGlinchey, like every single guy has talked about how great the training staff is. Whatever, Justin Peters or whatever his name is. And like, they're always bringing up these guys that, if it wasn't for them, like I would have never got back from this injury. Or, the 49ers have the top class of everything. All the players are always saying that. The coaches say that. Everybody says that. So it's like, what is it then? And you bring up the Ravens, even right now, there's only one team more injured, has more starters injured than us, and that's the Ravens. So something, I don't know, something's weird. Like, how's it again, the 49ers and the Ravens? Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because we're both run dominant teams.
Yeah.
Like we both play physical style, punch you in the mouth football. Like, I don't know, but
I think of it as like I look at it in a couple of ways, and it was interesting, like hearing like what you just talked about with Kittle was talking about the different kinds of turfs and thinking about having to wear different kind of cleats. It made me think about how the NFL also doesn't let these guys hit high. They want them to hit low, like which what does that do? That's going to cause more lower extremity injuries also, because guess when their feet get caught in the turf, like if their feet are getting caught in the turf, like, and you're making them tackle low, what's that going to do? Their feet are going to get caught in the turf. So exactly. I just look at it as the NFL has done a kind of a crappy job, I feel, of protecting its investment. These are investments. This is not just some random guy and they're just replaceable. They're just replaceable pieces to a chessboard. I mean, I know that's the way they think of it a lot of the time, but they're not. They're not guys on Madden. They're not pixels. They're real people. And I think that every other job has to think of their players or has to think of people and the safety of their workers. Why are we not expecting the NFL to be more proactive? Because they're always reactive. They always wait for something to happen, and then all of a sudden we want to put something in place. But like, why are they not thinking the same thing that you just mentioned about, that Kittle's mentioning, that I'm sure this isn't the first time that they've mentioned it. And I know that Kittle has been putting like promos and stuff on about this since 2 years ago.
Yeah, the NFL players even had a petition, I know, that was going around last season, that they were all signing, how many ever signatures to get this to go, blah, 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 to get turf taken out. And it was way past the number, but like, I don't know whatever happens to that shit, like, who does that get turned into? Who makes the decisions? Obviously, it's not making much of a difference because there was like millions of signatures on that thing.
And this is another aspect of it. It's part of the NFLPA's problem too. Like, because they're not doing anything either. If these are your players, these players are paying you to represent them in negotiation tables. What are you doing? What are you doing to get your the people that are paying you good money to protect them? What are you doing for them? And like, if he gives you a petition that he's got enough signatures for, then why? These are billionaires. Let's not talk about the cost of everybody having real grass. Like I get it that there's snow in some of these places, that some of these places have domes, all that stuff. Okay, you're making billions. Roll that grass up and put it and roll it out every single week. It's not that big of a thing, I don't feel. And
That's
it's
funny,
sure it's me.
Peter.
Yeah. You go ahead, TL.
No, I'm just saying that's funny you say that because the Raider Stadium, like they
That's
can
what I was just
interchange.
gonna say.
Yeah,
that I
they
brought
can
up the other day,
interchange. Yeah, they can interchange their stuff. They have 2 different fields that they roll out. So they have like a real grass that they put out in the sun. They water it every day, make sure it's cut down and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a way. Like Miriah said, like these are billionaires. These players deserve the best. Like there's no way you can tell me that you can't put the best, whatever it is, the turf that's going to be less effective as far as getting people hurt or whatever grass you're going to put in. Like you can pay some landscaper to come in and make sure that grass is taken care of all year round. So I don't want to hear this, affordability stuff. So it's just crazy to me that these billionaires can't get this right. You know what I mean? Like you said, like they're investments, you know what I mean? Which I hate to call humans investments, but that's what they are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know about you, P. I think you did say you played football, but it's funny how you said that they don't let these guys hit high. Hit me below the neck and above the waist all day. Like that's, to me, that's like you don't really play. I mean, yes, you got your hands, but I'd rather, I'm being honest, I'd rather have some cracked ribs than have a torn ACL. You know what I'm saying? Like, to not letting these people hit high to me is crazy, because I see these low hits and you're like, man, you see people, like you said, their cleats get stuck in the turf and they get hit, above the knee and their cleat doesn't move, and then their leg does, and that's not a good. That's gonna be an issue every time. If your foot's staying still and your leg is moving, that's not good. As we saw, same thing with Trey. You know what I mean? Like, just you saw what happened with him. So it's just one of those things, man, where it's like they need to get this right. And I know this ain't about how the tackling and all this stuff goes, but you're right, man. I don't know why hitting people above the waist is an issue, because I'll take hits like that all day long. You know what I'm saying?
And I want to say hi to all the people in the chat. Like, I appreciate you guys for coming in, and I haven't been putting the comments up because every time I do it, it does this. So yeah, like it's gonna be really sparing tonight, but I still appreciate you. I'm gonna still mention these comments as they come in, but I'm gonna have to get with Roscoe on how to fix the that overlay.
There's a thing that you can click in the settings that says, like, once you put the chat, like, move photos up or whatever, like, you need to unclick that, because there's a option that says move photos up, like during chat or something. And so if you don't click it, like, it'll just put the chat like a little bit like across Teal's chest instead.
Got you. And that's what I need. I need you to be my tech support on the regular, Miriah. Look at that. You can teach an old dog new tricks, y'all. Yeah. So but thanks Forever Faithful. Hey, Brandon, I appreciate you coming in. And he's got a show later on today, so make sure you guys check that out. But yeah, it's just a touchy subject because you're dealing with billionaires' money, and these people do not like anybody touching their money for any reason. And I know that that's the reason why they're giving they're prioritizing their money over these players' safety, and that's never a good policy in my estimation. But let's get on a lighter note, and we did get a victory, right? 37-50. It was a pretty dominant victory. And did we lose some guys? Yes, but we saw some things. I think this is the second game in a row Jimmy had no interceptions. He's now got a 5-to-1 interception ratio, which is just crazy to even think of. But in my estimation, he kind of did. In my estimation, he had a good game. I see a lot of people out there on Twitter saying that we just have low standards. Like, what do you think? Do you think Jimmy? Let's start with you, Miriah. Do you think Jimmy had a good game, or is the bar just so low for us?
Well, let me ask you this. Did Jimmy have a good game? If Josh Allen were to have that game, would you still consider that a good game? Okay, so I don't consider that a good game. I think, he had an average game. I don't see that he did anything to wow me. Like he is what he is. Like, that's what I keep coming back to. He is what he is. I don't think, he had a good game for Jimmy, but for NFL quarterback standards, did he have a good game? No. He had 200 something yards. Yeah, he didn't throw any interceptions, but like you said, this is 2 games that he hasn't thrown an interception. If he were to make it through next week, Sunday's game, this will be the first time in his career that he's ever gone 3 games without throwing an interception. Ooh. In his freaking career. Like, I'm not impressed. 253 yards. It's no 18 for 30. Like, come on. Like, if that seriously, I agree. If that's what you're impressed with, then your bar is way too low.
Yeah, I look at it as, it's not that I look at it exactly how you said it. I think it was a good game for Jimmy. Like, and it's just, but that's what we have here. Like, it is what it is. We're stuck with that until Trey gets better. He is the best option, I would say. Like, he is the best option because of the way Kyle is using him. I love that Kyle is finally using him like a backup quarterback and throwing a lot of screens, a lot of short stuff, not asking him to do anything crazy. Because I think in the past, Kyle had asked him to do certain things that I don't think was in his skill set. And now I think he's finally treating him like a backup. What do you think, TL? What do you think
before you go, TL? What if you were growing this flower, right? This beautiful little flower, it's starting to grow. You've been taking care of it. The flower dies. You put a pile of poop there. Are you going to call that pile of poop a flower just because it's taking the place of the flower? Like, just because that's what we're stuck with, we don't have to start calling him great, that he's good, that he's all this stuff that he's not, just because that's who we have. Like, we need to call it how it is. Like, he's not great.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great game. Like, I understand the wide receivers had drops. Like, everybody wants to bring up that contortion that Ayuk's supposed to contort his body completely around and catch a ball that's thrown over here. But Debo, again, like, he's led the league in drops for I don't know how long, and he's dropping like 3 to 4 balls a game, but like nobody wants to ever talk about that because it's Debo Samuel, so I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you. What do you think, TL? How you gonna match that?
I can't, but no, it's just, this fan base is insufferable sometimes. I'm gonna keep it a buck here, man. Like, like I got dragged one day on Spaces because I feel like, some of these 49er fans are so delusional that they feel like just because that's your team that you have to call somebody the best. So, for instance, I sat there on Spaces the other day and said that Justin Jefferson, to me, right now is the best receiver in football. You know what I'm saying? As far as like route running, hands, all this other stuff, right? I said he was better. You crazy. He's not better than Debo Samuel. Yes, he is. I'm sorry. In my opinion, he's a better maybe not a better playmaker.
Yeah.
But he's a better wide receiver. And people went bonkers, man. And then like the other day, we played the Rams. Well, a couple weeks ago, we played the Rams. I had no knock against Jimmy. I was like, man, the 49ers defense did their thing. Jimmy played a good game. And somebody took me saying Jimmy played a good game as me dogging him. So I got all this clap back. Oh, why can't you just enjoy the win, bro? Why you got to just say that Jimmy had a good game? Because he did. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Miriah is talking about. So do I feel like some of this fan base has a low standard for quarterback play? Yes, absolutely. However, we have what we have. So I don't expect great quarterback play. So if he comes out there, he goes out there, he throws 300 something yards and 4 touchdowns, I'll say he had a great game.
Yeah.
But these lackluster, average, like Miriah said, he's an average quarterback. So I expect 230 and 2 touchdowns a game. We get that from him, 230, 2 touchdowns. I'm good with that if there's no interceptions, because this defense, the way they're playing is, as long as we're keeping teams under 20 points, we got this. You know what I'm saying? So I think these people just need to temper expectations and just, and stop getting upset when people say, oh, he's this, he's that, oh, he had a great game. I'm like, no, it wasn't great. Like Miriah said, Josh Allen threw 300 something yards or 4 touchdowns by halftime.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? By
Yeah.
halftime.
That's a
So,
great quarterback.
That's a
Yes.
great game. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. In my opinion, when you throw for over 300 with 3 tutties, that's a great game in my
Yeah.
eyes.
Mhm.
Anything below that, 2 touchdowns, 200 yards is a good game. It's solid.
Yeah.
But that's
And
all. But that's all I care about. Just give me that from Jimmy, and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I feel you. Like, and
yeah.
I get it. Maybe I'm just a beat down, like, and I just don't, and I'm just so that's all I want is I just want you to not throw picks.
That's it.
Like, maybe that's all I'm asking of you with this team. This
Yeah.
offense is so dynamic. They have so many playmakers
Weapons.
on this team that it's just like, can you just get the ball to them and let them do their thing after that? Like, that's all I want you to do. And I mean, he has a lower completion percentage this season, but he's not throwing as many picks.
Yeah.
So I will take that all day. Like, and if we're gonna end up with a 37-15 score, then hey, like, I mean, I'm not saying that the defense scoring a touchdown every game is sustainable. Like,
No.
obviously that's not.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that the momentum that brings kind of helped with that score. Like, but at the same time, if he can just not put them in bad spots, I'm good with that. But I agree. I want to make sure that the other side of the fan base, the truthers, don't come after me saying that I'm a Jimmy apologist and like all the other stuff. I am not. I am a Trey guy all day. Like, if we're stuck with Jimmy, what we're used to seeing is him throw a touchdown, throw 2 touchdowns, then throw a pick. Throw a touchdown, throw a pick. And right now we're not getting that part. And so I have to be pleased with that. And that's all I'm at.
Hey, Peter, I have a question for you because you made the comment of like you feel like Kyle's now treating him as a backup. Do you see a different game plan from this year and last year for Jimmy?
I do.
Do you?
I think I do.
I feel like he's throwing more screens and stuff like that. Like, I don't think he's throwing over the middle as much as he was last year because I think they realized over the middle is his kryptonite. But, and I'm going to ask this, and I would just like a quick answer because, it bugs me every time I see this play calling. Yeah. If Kyle called these same exact plays from the Rams to this Carolina game, could Trey execute?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's why I don't. Yeah, that's why I don't get. Yeah.
What I'll say, quick answer is, we can't say that he would because we haven't seen it, and that's what a lot of people are saying is that I think that he could, but we don't know because we haven't seen it. Like, so and there was a couple of times where they did call a couple of those things, and Trey kind of threw it at their feet. So I think that was something Trey was working on. And we were going to have to go through those kind of bumps and bruises. But what Trey was going to give you that Jimmy couldn't was that deep shot to Danny Gray. He might have hit it. Yeah, like, sure. And those other deep shots, he might have hit those. So you take the good with the bad. Like, we know that we're gonna have bumps and bruises with Trey. Like, I just wanted Kyle to give him the same game plan that he's given Jimmy, and not use him as a fullback.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. Like, I mean, because people can say, oh, well, it doesn't matter the play call, he could get hurt with whatever.
Oh,
you're still absolutely.
But you're keeping him out of danger by not having him having the most carries on the roster.
Yeah, you can't tell me the more hits the better. Like, like, I mean, that's just stupidity in my mind.
That's all I wanted to ask, because I mean, I'm glad we're getting these W's, so I don't want people coming at me, just enjoy the win. But I was just so excited for this season. I still am. If Jimmy plays like this, I'm going to be excited because there's a chance to get that 6th Super Bowl. But it's just, to me, it's just head scratching, and it's frustrating seeing these simple plays, these screens and these dump offs, and Jimmy doing all these rollouts and stuff like this. And it's like, where was this energy for our future? You know what I mean? So that's just what bugs me about it. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting aspect of that, what you were just talking about, is that Like we just want the W's. But think about we're in first place in our division with a 3-2 record. The whole NFL is pretty wishy-washy this year.
It is.
And there's only like one. The Eagles are the only team that I can think of that have Eagles and the Bills have been the only ones that have really been kind of like dominant looking. And it's so I mean, to me, the 49ers are in a perfect position because the AFC West isn't as good as we thought it was going to be. We still got the Raiders and the Chiefs left. We still got, and then our division is, I mean, none of them looking good right now.
No,
so
we might sweep, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, so if we can get this kind of play from Jimmy, like it's within the realm of possibility that we do sweep, and it's so I think that if we can just stay the course and this defense, and we can stay away from any more injuries, because eventually these injuries are gonna take their toll, and I'm just thankfully they haven't hit that bad on the offensive side of the ball, but yeah, the defense, I don't know how many more of these they can take. We all talked about the depth on this defense, but they're testing it right now.
Yeah.
But so we already talked about Jimmy. The game plan seemed to I noticed that you were talking about the game plan earlier, TL. I noticed that the game plan was to kind of get Kittle involved early. And do you think that's what we might see kind of going forward, or will we see Kyle kind of pick a guy every week and may just go with that guy with he likes to call it the hot hand? What do you think?
I think with Kyle, I don't know if that's going to be his game plan every week. I think it just depends on the team we play. Because I think when we start playing teams, to me, I feel like when we play the Chargers or something like that, I think he might use Kittle more as an offensive lineman, just because you have Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, and stuff like that. You got two dominant edge rushers coming at you, and then Trent Williams ain't there. So I think it just depends. I'm glad to see Kittle get involved a little early, but then it seemed like he disappeared afterwards and it started becoming a blocker again. So maybe he just did that to open some things up. You know what I mean?
You fumbled. Why are you going to keep throwing the ball?
So I think maybe it's one of those things where Kyle's okay, let me open, let me get this offense going a little bit. Let me get Kittle the ball. Because eventually, people are going to be okay, they're giving the ball to Kittle. That opens up the running game, which we saw, you know what I mean? So yeah, I like Kyle's game plan this week. And I feel like he's getting a little bit more creative and spreading the ball out a little bit more. Because I feel like, it seems like with Jimmy, he's spreading the ball around a little bit more. He's giving everybody their fair targets. Get Kittle his targets. Gave Juwan Jennings, man. I stole this from my boy Ernie. Third and Jennings. I mean, that dude's just money on third down. You know what I mean? So I think if you just kept getting people involved, and I mentioned this before, me and Miriah both were even if Jimmy is not able to get Danny Gray the ball, still put him out there. Let that man go out there and just, at least it keeps the defense honest to be okay, because all it takes is for Gray to get some good separation where, early or a cornerback slip or whatever the case may be. And Jimmy hit him with the ball. It's 6. So
we still rolled out Goodwin. Knowing Jimmy couldn't hit him half the time, but we still put him out there when he was healthy, Jimmy still tried.
Yeah. So I think so I mean, you got to take your chances. So with Gray, even though people say, well, Jimmy can't hit him, you still had him out there, and Jimmy tried, it didn't get there, but you look at it, it's okay, this guy's out there, his speed is not a secret. People know how fast he is. So it's okay, let's go ahead and cover this guy. And I think it just opens up your offense as a whole, even if you use somebody as a decoy. You know what I'm saying? So I think if Kyle just keeps it up, we're playing kind of a similar team in Atlanta that has a serviceable defense. They could play solid defense and stuff like that, but just has a terrible offense. So I feel like we're playing a team that's mirroring each other. You know what I mean? With Atlanta and Carolina. So yeah, I think Kyle called a good game, I believe.
Yeah, I thought it was a good game call. What did you think of the play calling, Miriah?
I know you want to give Jimmy credit for spreading the ball around. However, I think that's credit to Kyle, because we know Jimmy can't get past the second read. So if the ball's getting spread around, if the ball's going wherever, that's because that's where Kyle planned the ball to go. True. Jimmy ain't going off script. Jimmy's throwing where Kyle had told him to throw. Like, so if the ball's getting spread around, that's because Kyle made it that way. Like, I don't know why you guys are thinking that freaking Jimmy's just going to go out there. Oh, I think I'm going to throw to Kittle. He's open. I think I'm going to throw to Ayuk. He's open. No, that's not happening. Like, he ain't diagnosing what's the defense. He's not doing any of that. He's going out there. He's getting the play call that Kyle fucking told him that they already rehearsed 16 freaking times during the week. And every throw Jimmy throws to this person, like you hear him even talk about it in the pressers. Oh, well, Jimmy missed me, or I didn't make that catch, 9 times that we practiced it in during the week, but Jimmy said he was still going to throw it during the game and it just worked out. Like they're practicing the exact plays, the exact script, everything that he's fucking putting out there. Like, I don't know. I just think you guys are trying to give Jimmy too much freaking credit.
No,
like,
I don't. I do not. I'm not giving Jimmy the credit for, I don't think, for any of this. Like, I think that, like, I've been giving Kyle the credit for scheming up more of a backup QB game plan for Jimmy and not putting him in a position to do things that he can't do and that he doesn't do well and make reads and like all that kind of stuff. I think that, like you said, I think he's simplifying it even more than we thought that he could already simplify it by bringing in those screens like TL was talking about, those more tunnel screens, more ways to get the ball in the playmaker's hands and not sit here and wait for Jimmy to deliver it to them down the field. Like, if we're waiting for that, we'll be waiting. Like, we're going to be waiting and we're going to be disappointed. So like you said, Miriah, I have no faith. I have no faith in Jimmy as a pre-snap read, or honestly to be post-snap read. Whenever I start to see Jimmy get I call him Jimmy feet now. Like he starts tip tapping back there behind the I was like, oh man, just throw it away, Jimmy. Just throw it away. Like, because you're not seeing that he's not seeing anything at that point. So
and then when he's doing that and he throws the ball, like both feet are going to be off the ground, like in no right throwing. Like, everybody wanted to clown on freaking Trey Lance for his mechanics. Like, Jimmy has the worst mechanics I've ever seen. Like, they're so bad. He's so bad in the. But he gets
the ball out in the quickest in the league.
Well, I mean, a good quarterback don't have to have a quick release. We see the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL right now don't have a quick release. Josh Allen, Mahomes, none of them. Like, that's Jimmy's number one thing, and he's still not a great quarterback. So you can't tell me the release time matters that much.
Yeah, I've never understood the arguments for Jimmy. Like, and this is going to turn into a Jimmy hater show already. I can see it. Like, but like, I've never seen people make more excuses for a quarterback than if you just listen to the national broadcast when the game is on. Like, they say the most nonsensical stuff about this man that they don't say about no other quarterback ever. Like, when you're fishing for a way to say that a guy's good, he's not good.
Yeah.
He's just not. If you've got to think of ways and start talking about his release and start talking about how great he is in the huddle, like, and his cadence. Like,
it's never about his playback. It's never about his playmaking ability. It's all about his quick release and his command of the huddle and stuff like that. It's never about his play.
How is him talking loud to his family have anything to do with football? Like, they had to actually bring up his cadence. Oh, his cadence is so good because he was one of how many ever kids, and he had to shout over the rest of it. I was like, come on, man. Like,
it's embarrassing, to be honest.
Yeah, it really is.
Because I said it the other day on Twitter, because like I had mentioned something, because I don't know if you see that thing with Hufanga where he came out and he was just like, yeah, the defense played great. I need to do better, and this and that, right? And I made a comment. I was like, man, I love when players take accountability, right?
Yeah.
Got somebody coming to my mentions. You talking about the quarterback is getting old. I'm like, I had nothing to say about Jimmy. I had nothing to do with Jimmy. I'm talking about Hufanga taking responsibility. And I was like, man, I never seen so much of an obsession with the average quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, the obsession is sick. It's a sickness, man. I swear. Like, it's
Yeah, it's something. I don't know. I feel like it's something in the water.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't it's something you're eating. Like you're not doing your body good, bro. If you're thinking if that's what your brain is coming up with, then you've got some health issues. And because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. If you've got to do all that to come up with a reason why the quarterback that you like should be starting, then I mean, it's just time to get a new quarterback. But we have Jimmy this year. We are riding till the wheels fall off.
Yep.
And
They're
we're
falling
gonna
off.
and I'm it's just one bolt, Miriah.
We're losing bolts as every turn.
But the reality is we're here. And we're in a good position. We think that we know what we can look forward to. I mean, if he can just do this, we can probably get pretty far. Do we win a Super Bowl? Probably not. But I'm not gonna rule it out, because if he just had not thrown picks in the playoffs, we probably, I don't know, could we have? We might have. So it's, if I can get this version of Jimmy, I'm going to applaud this version of Jimmy every time I see it. Just because anytime he cannot throw a pick is a good thing to me.
Absolutely.
But the game, do you think it was, where is it? Why did the running game why did the running game look so different? I know that they actually went to two running backs for once. Big shock there. We've been begging for that all season. And what happens when we get it? Oh, all of a sudden Jeff Wilson, fresh legs, gets how many? I mean, he gets over 100 yards rushing.
Yep.
And looked fresh throughout the game. And Tevin Coleman came in and mossing people.
Oh yeah, that was a nice catch.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, no, that was a nice throw. No, I'm just kidding. That was for you, Miriah. but yeah, it was just having that extra amount of a guy that's not running, trying to be I think the days of bell cow backs is over. That's over. You got these guys on the sideline that can, at the very least, can spell the other guy and give him some energy off the bench. And that's what Tevin Coleman did. He didn't get a ton of yards, but he still looked solid. And and he got some tough yards, and that hurts their defense, gets them tired, so that Jeff Wilson can do his thing when he comes in. But what did you guys think about the running game looking this week?
Go ahead.
Oh, good. You said it exactly how I was going to say it, Peter. I'm sorry, Pete. My fault. You still got Peter Lucas on there, right, brother. I got to change that.
Yeah, I haven't.
So we've been asking for this since, I've been asking for this for a couple of years. We saw the success of the running game when he was using Mostert and Matt Breida and, spreading it around a little bit. And then, we talked about it. I want to say, I don't know if it was a Rams game or the one before that. Maybe the Rams game where Debo had 2 carries, then Jeff Wilson had 18, and then no other running back had a carry. And speaking of running backs, Marlon Mack was cut today. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, Marlon Mack was cut, so I guess good riddance, I guess. But
they said it's a sign that they said that it's a sign TDP's probably coming back.
Yeah, TDP, and then Mitchell should be coming back pretty soon too, hopefully. So so I mean, the running back room look really good on Sunday. I wish we keep doing this going forward. I understand you want to run the hot hand, but you got to give your main running back a breather every once in a while. So the fact that he was using Tevin Coleman, he used him a lot more in the red zone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the way that how he mixed it up. I hope, man. And did he even get a carry? Because I don't think he did.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. So I mean, let's keep it that way. I mean, I don't mind one or two a game. I don't mind 1 or 2 a game, but if you don't need to use him as one, then so be it. You know what I mean? So I think the running game worked well because, one, like I said, the way Kyle had his game plan. he opened it up by throwing, easy shots for Jimmy, just here, dump off, screen, stuff like that, just to get him comfortable. So it's like, okay, they're passing the ball, they're giving it to Kittle, they're giving it to Ayuk. So I think, to Jennings. So I think it just opened things up where they played back a little bit and they weren't stacking 8 men in the box. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So so I think that's why our running game worked well. And and I know you're going to talk about this later, but I think I'll give some credit to the offensive line as well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For what they were creating some holes and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I think about the run game.
What about you, Miriah?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what both of you guys say about that. I will talk about, though, I know you had asked, like, did he not trust, the other running backs because, he just gave all this workload to Coleman all of a sudden. And we've been, banging the table to get Mason some carries. And I think it's a mixture of things, right? Like, we know Tevin Coleman has been in this system before. He knows the playbook. He has Kyle's trust already. He's a willing blocker. He can block. And I just don't know, like, we know that Kyle, he doesn't trust rookies. Like, he doesn't want to have to play rookies unless he has to. Like, we heard after even Ayuk's rookie year that the only reason Ayuk got as much play as he did was because all the other wide receivers were hurt, not because he was a first round pick. Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, if Kyle doesn't want to give our first round picks play when they're rookies, like, what makes you think he wants to just throw out a, undrafted guy out there that's a rookie? And as great as we can think that, or want to hope that Mason is, like, he still went undrafted for a reason, so, I think it could be a mixture of things that Kyle doesn't trust him. Maybe he doesn't know the playbook yet. Like, we know that Kyle's playbook is so in depth, is so hard. Like, we continuously talk about that. And I would think with as much wrinkles and, things that he keeps adding as the years go through, like that playbook just is going to get harder and harder. So, like, you can't expect a rookie that's already drowning with all this shit going on, like having to learn how to play special teams, all this already in the NFL, that, like, okay, he's going to get the playbook down. Like, we're just going to throw him out there and trust him to block, even though the rest of our O-line, is scary looking at times. Like, I think it's just a mixture of things. It was good to see, because Coleman was on the Jets, during training camp and stuff, and they cut him. So, like, to me, he looks better than what Michael Carter is looking at, for the Jets. So it's kind of weird to me that they would cut him, like, I don't know. But I mean, I'm happy with the way T. Cole looked. Like, I think it's great, like you said, to use them both. If we just have Jeff Wilson running the ball and then put T. Cole out there in passing situations, whatnot. I think that's a good combination, because remember, Kyle had that in Atlanta too, with Coleman and
Devontae Freeman.
Yeah. And they were a great 1-2 punch.
Yes,
I love that. I love that running back combo. So if we can get 75% of that Tevin Coleman, I'd be happy.
Yeah. And that's why I always thought it was weird that Kyle kind of went away from that that two-back system that he had going already. Because when he first got here, that's what he was doing. And like all the way up until last year, really. Yeah. He really just started running Elijah Mitchell into the ground, and he just went to that bell cow sky. And I think with Jordan Mason, because I'm going to answer Melissa's question, my thing about Jordan Mason, I think it's a good sign that he's playing special teams. I think it's a good sign that they're not putting him back on the practice squad. Yeah. And I think that they see something in him. I just think, like you said, that there might be a playbook issue. It might be that he's not getting his blocking assignments. That could be because I will say the one time, the couple of snaps that he got, the one he had to carry for 7 yards, but the other one, there was a blocking assignment that he missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he was in the completely wrong area.
No block, no rock.
And not only that, they're on that same, he had to be put on that same play. He had to be put in the right spot by I believe, I think it was Jimmy at the time. Jimmy had to tell him where to be. He didn't even know where to line up. So it could be those little things with Kyle. And I mean, not that that's a small thing. Like, he needs to know where to line up and he needs to be able to block. But but it's gonna be those attentions to detail that are going to get you put on the bench. But I think that they know he has talent. I think that they're literally waiting for it to just kind of like he gets everything down, and then I think we might see him later on down the year, like when it gets closer. I want us to get high enough, like farther enough into games to where it's garbage time, and then we might see him get a few carries. But because I thought that's what we were going to get last game. I thought they got so far ahead that I thought they were going to put him in garbage time, but it still didn't happen. But
yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought as soon as we scored 37 that they were going to start putting in like the Jordan Masons just to get him some burn and stuff like that. So
they did on defense.
Yeah, they did. They put in Womack and stuff like that to put in. But yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to Kyle, he's all about rhythm. I think that's why the bell cow system thing. He wants to get his running back into a rhythm before he takes him out. But at the same time, you never know. I mean, Jordan Mason came in, had 1 carry for 7 yards. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
but I get it, and me and Miriah talk about this all the time. What we do know about Kyle is he's going to go with the guys he trusts.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know
that.
Point blank, period. So, so that's why, I was just like, man, like, when we're going through our roster, I'm like, Jeff Wilson's probably going to make this team, even though I didn't think he would, just because of the trust issue. And Kyle's like, and it's a good thing he did, because, I mean, who knows? Who knows how the running back room would have looked if he was cut and then we lose Elijah Mitchell and then TDP. So now we're looking at, so I don't know. I think it was at the end of the day, it seemed like it was the right move. And Jeff Wilson, to me, I don't know what I mentioned this the other day. I feel like he's gotten faster. Like his burst, as soon as he comes out of the hole, like he's fast. I don't know. He looks faster to me, man. He looks more explosive. He looks like his vision has gotten better.
Yeah, I think he's more definitive. I mean, he knows exactly where he's going, and he just hits it. He's not thinking as much. I think before he used to kind of, and sometimes he would pick the wrong place, the wrong crease. But I think now since he's been able to week in, week out be the starter, he knows that he can see the hole opening up, and he's hitting it as soon as it opens up. And I think that's the big difference for him. That's why. But I think he has burst. Like he has burst. He just doesn't have long speed.
No, he doesn't. Because he's always getting caught from behind.
Yeah.
But he does have bursts. Like, he'll get 20, 30 yards. But, we know if that was like Elijah Mitchell or whatever, like he's taking that to the house. You know what I mean?
To the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We're just talking about opening up holes. What about the O-line? I look at this O-line, and I still think that they're a work in progress. Brunskill played like everywhere across the line in this last game. And but I mean, how do you feel that they're gelling, and do you think that they'll get better as the season goes on? Let's start with you, Miriah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for being down, our best O lineman, and the guy that, going into the season, I was really counting on that he was going to get these other guys, what they were supposed to be doing, while he's out there, but we don't even have him out there now. So, I mean, with minus him, I think that these last 2 games, they've done pretty good. 2 weeks ago, they didn't give up a sack at all. I think this last game, 2 sacks, so that's good for O-line that they've kind of been just piecing together on the go, I think, that I would grade them probably like a C. They're doing average. I think, though, that as long as we can keep, like you talked about Brunskill, that they're moving him all over. And I just feel like they're trying to find out a place to put him. I don't think they want to just rip somebody that's been starting the last 4 games and be like, oh, well, Brunskill's back and he's kind of mid, but we're just going to throw him out there to replace you because he's, been here or whatever. So I don't know. But I think as they go on, as long as we can keep that 5 or 6, including Brunskill, out there healthy together, of course they should get better as time goes, because they'll get that chemistry. That's a big thing with the O-line is they need to be able to gel. They need to be all able to work as one. So if they're all the time taking this person out, putting this person in, this person out, they're never going to be able to do that. So as long as those 5, 6 can always play together like that and build some chemistry, I think that, as the season goes, that they should be looking better. And 2, you have to realize that they changed quarterbacks as well. The whole offseason, training camp, everything, they're preparing to play with a running quarterback, a quarterback that can run, that, you have to block different. All that shit's different. And now they have a quarterback that's just going to stand there,
although I hate to give Jimmy props, but did anybody else notice that he was navigating the pocket a little? It wasn't bad this last game. He was stepping up in the pocket. That was crazy.
What you mean it wasn't bad? It was great. Stop being a hater. Stop being a hater and enjoy the win, brother.
Yeah. I'm just trying not to get slapped virtually by Miriah. But how about you, TL? What do you think about this offensive line?
I'm with Miriah. I'm gonna give it a C. I had said beginning of the season that I think it would take till like week 6 or 7 to have some continuity, and that was obviously thinking if everybody was healthy and stuff like that. But I'm not with playing the musical chairs with the offensive line because you need that continuity. So if you want to do that, I mean, it's certain plays maybe you want to put in Brunskill and stuff like that, but only way that Burford and Aaron Banks and them are going to do their thing is if they keep staying and playing snaps. Like Brunskill, I think just keep him as a backup until you actually need him. Like I think Jalen Moore, he's going to play tackle, right? This last game.
Yeah.
Jalen Moore, I think he played fairly well. For being that left tackle. I was kind of scared because I think he's more of a guard, but he played pretty well because, we didn't think we would be without Trent Williams or Colton McKivitz come week 5, you know what I'm saying, or week 6. So, I mean, these young guys, they're stepping up, and I think a lot of it too, the reason why I give them a C is because I feel like I see the pocket start to collapse when Kyle doesn't execute plays where Jimmy can get the ball out of his hand quick. Like if he's back there a little bit more than normal, like these defensive linemen are coming. So the fact that Kyle's calling these game plans and scheming up like quick plays, like slants and screens and stuff like that is making the offensive line look a little bit better, in my opinion. Yeah. However, they're still playing solid for being how young and experienced that they are. And I think a C is about a fair grade for this O-line at this point in time.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Like I would give him a C. Like I might give them a C plus just because they really, to me, are, even if Trent wasn't out there, they're exceeding expectations. Like everybody thought that Brendel was going to be a disaster. Everybody thought Aaron Banks was going to be a disaster before the season started. So the fact that Aaron Banks has probably been our best offensive lineman this season, and then Brendel has been serviceable. Burford has been, I think we're all surprised that Burford's not the best guy on the line right now, but he's made some rookie mistakes, but for the most part, he's been pretty good. And then McGlinchey has been actually pretty decent. He's going to have McGlinchey moments. Like we're not talking about that. There's going to be 1 or 2 every game where it's just going to be like, what are you doing? But for the most part, he's been pretty solid, even in the pass game. So, I mean, I gotta say, I'm gonna give him a C plus just because they're serviceable right now. Like Jimmy's not running for his life as soon as he hikes the ball, and I think that's the main thing. So the Jalen Moore, I think he's learning on the job. At the beginning of the game was kind of shaky. He gave up a sack like right away to Brian Burns, and I think we thought that it was going to be a long game after that. But he settled in. They only ended up with, like you said, 2 sacks. So and then I think that they really opened up the running game. The running game looked almost like the old days, like for a second there. So like you got to give these guys. I think you got to give these guys some credit. But I'm really, really impressed with Aaron Banks. I really like Aaron Banks right now, and that guy is. I think every game he's making strides and he has that nasty strength that I thought we were going to see from Burford, but I think Burford's gotten to the point now to where he's just trying to stay in front of guys. And like, I think it's going to take a little bit more development with him. But like, I think that we're all surprised that Banks was a hit by this team. It looks like he's going to be a hit.
Yeah, and it's funny what you say about Banks because it was more the interior line I was worried about, center and the both guard positions, and Banks was actually the one I was worried about the least because
Oh,
I'm like,
really?
yeah, I was like, I think Banks is gonna be okay. I was worried about Brendel and Burford, because it's
Yeah.
like what was going on. Because I was like, man, and again, I go with it, and I was wrong because I thought for sure that Daniel Brunskill was going to be the starting right guard because we always talk about Kyle and the trust factor and stuff like that. But Burford is playing well. Ultimately, I'm gonna be honest here. I think he's gonna be our left tackle of the future. He just
Really?
has that. I just have that feeling he's going to be. He was dominant with that when he was in college and stuff, and he kind of mirrors Trent Williams to me as far as his
Mm.
size, and I'm just glad that they didn't ask him to put on a bunch of weight and stuff like that. Like he's 6'5", 315 pounds. Just let him stay that way. Don't let him try to gain weight. I really think he's our left tackle of the future, but. Yeah, our offensive line has played well. I was worried about Jake Brendel because to me, center is the hardest position on that offensive line,
Hmm.
other than tackle. I think left tackle and center because you have to know all the commands. You know when the audible. Snaps have to be crisp. That's one of the things that quarterback has to be on sync. And I know people are like, well, Jake Brendel's been playing 6 years in the league, yeah, but he hasn't started. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
it started.
So
And he
it's like,
hasn't played any with Jimmy.
yeah, has
Yeah.
played
Like
with
he
Jimmy.
was on the scout team all
Same
last
scout
year
team
with Trey.
Yeah,
So
so
Yeah.
and Jake Brendel, he had his moments too, but he's stepping up. But Banks, you're right. He's probably been our most consistent lineman. He's out there dominant. He looks in shape. He's not getting beat like a drum out there. So that's all you can
Yeah.
ask for in a second round pick who's the first year starter. So, I think going forward, we're going to be in good hands with Aaron Banks.
You think the Niners are going to draft another right tackle, or are they going to bring McGlinchey back?
It wouldn't surprise me if they did bring McGlinchey
Yeah.
back. I'm gonna keep it real here. I think like I said before, I think McKivitz could probably play right tackle, if need be and stuff like that. But I don't
That's
know,
true.
man. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. McGlinchey, like you said, has been playing pretty solid. He looks healthy. I don't know. Honestly, well, we'll talk about this another day because we don't have a first round pick, but
Yeah.
there's a scenario where I would go with the position that would probably shock everybody, or at least the moves I would make in the offseason. But that's for another day.
Yeah. Like I've been waiting for them to, and honestly, it seemed like they did go all in on offensive line. They drafted 2 offensive linemen in this last draft. But I still think that they need to go dip in the offensive line pool again this next season, and really fortify this offensive line for the future. But that's just me. I'm a guy that's all about the trenches. Like I think that's how you build your team, and you can have all the weapons in the world if you don't have time to throw, it's not going to matter. So the defense, let's get on to the defense. My favorite part of this team. And they dominated again, even as dudes were falling like flies. They still did not stop rushing the passer. They still had 6 defensive line at 6 sacks. But with Bosa going down, do you see these injuries with Bosa and Emmanuel Mosley going down? Do you see this as a problem going into the next game against the Falcons?
go ahead.
Me or Miriah, who you want to go?
Oh, start with Miriah.
Okay.
I don't see it as a problem against the Falcons. Now, moving forward past that, no Bosa will start to worry me, but I think the D-line should definitely be able to hold up against the Falcons. I think the no E-man in the back end is going to hurt us more, for this game and going forward than if we didn't have Bosa. I think that D-line's just built well enough to, of course, we know Bosa's great. There's no replacing him, right? Like that doesn't need to be said, but that line is built so well that I just think that there won't be much, of a drop off without Bosa. But like I said, I don't want to be going, like having no Bosa against the Chiefs. That worries me, but us just playing the Falcons, I think we'll be fine. And I would prefer that, if he's on the cusp of, okay, he could play, but how they do, like, I'd rather them just hold him out, especially that we're going to play on freaking turf again. And he's already injured. Like, just don't even risk it, let him rest, get him back to 90%, whatever, and then go from there. But that E-Man injury, like that's what hurts me. Like that
Broke my heart.
sucks. Yeah, like he was having such a, like those two, E-Man and Mooney together, like we finally got the lockdown corners and we're able to lock down wide receivers that we've been missing, you know, all this years. Like, yeah, we had E-Man, but then we'd have him with somebody that's only there for a few games. Like, gets hurt. That's, you know.
Josh Norman.
Yeah. And it's like to finally have him a good
Drake
running mate.
Kirkpatrick.
And then it's like now he gets hurt. And like I just feel so bad for him because he's like put in all this work, was, you know, such an underrated corner.
He was an undrafted free agent.
Yeah. And then in his contract year, you know, like when he's everything like rides on this year, like, you know, this was his time to cash in on a big paycheck. And, you know, then he gets hurt. And, you know, it's not like a little injury, like, you know, he has to tear his ACL, like on top of that, like, it's just horrible. Like, and I like, it worries me how they're going to adjust, you know, to that injury, like who they're going to be moving around. I'm kind of worried about how that's going to look, but as far as Bosa goes, like I said, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how we're like, man, I'm worried more about Emmanuel Mosley than I am about Nick Bosa being on the field. That's kind of, you know, that's crazy.
We've seen Bosa
that
go
just
out
goes
for
to show. No,
we
I know.
saw Bosa go out for an entire year, and the D line didn't have no drop off.
Yeah, so that's why that just goes to shows you the progress and the hard work that Emmanuel Mosley has put in. That we're talking about his impact could hurt us more than Bosa's. That's just crazy to me. But yeah, you're right. Undrafted free agent. You know, worked his way up the depth chart in a contract year. You know, and I mentioned on the Miriah show last week that Emmanuel Mosley only gave up 26 yards receiving per game last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just lights out. Then the fact he's in his contract here. And what hurts me the most is he's from North Carolina. He had his family there.
Yep.
His family was there to watch his mom, and they had interviews before the game. I'm so happy to see my son. Then he goes and tears his ACL after he gets a pick six. Like, that's just heartbreaking, man. Yeah. So I just hate the fact that it happened when it happened. Like his, you know, like I said, but I truly believe even though he's going to be gone, you know, we're going to have to figure something out. I think Womack might get the nod at outside because he's originally outside corner from Toledo, even though we thought, he was going to be the guy to take over for K1. But next man up, he's more comfortable playing outside than inside. He even said it himself because that's what he did at Toledo. So, and his arms, people forget his arms are like
he got some long arms.
So, you know, even though he's only 5'10", 5'9.5", 5'10", I mean, the man has like a 6'5", like, reach or something like that. Like it's insane. So, you know, and we saw what he can do. I mean, I know it's preseason, but I mean, his football IQ was through the roof, man. He's good. I think because I don't think Jason Verrett is ready yet. I think I'd hold him out another week or two. You know what I mean? Like you want to keep, like if you play him, maybe play him against Kansas City. But right now I wouldn't play him. So yeah, I think the drop off from corner is going to be worse than D linemen. And man, the fact that, you know, I had said previously is funny because, you know, we're playing excellent without 5 starters, you know, Jason Verrett, Ward, Azeez Al-Shaair, Armstead, and Kinlaw. That's 5 guys who have been out. And yet this defense doesn't skip a beat. But now we're looking at possibly a Nick Bosa, Emmanuel Mosley. So we've been praising his defense and next man up. And man, the interior defensive line to me has been impressive.
Yeah,
because Ridgeway,
Givens,
Kevin Givens, Amenahue, like they've been lights out, man. So I got to give them their kudos, man. Them dudes been doing their thing without 2 starters out of that lineup.
Yeah, I forgot about Jimmy Ward too. And I know you talked about like him, you know, if he'd come back and play with the club, and like I definitely think that's doable. And you know, they did ask Shanahan about that, and he said, you know, as long depending on how the surgery goes and all that, you know, that's probably something that they could do. I think especially with the position he plays, you know, that should be something that can be done. But yeah, for this game, you know, we had to worry about replacing him again as well. So
yeah. Let me say something to Fernando real quick. I said interior defensive line, brother. I didn't say nothing about the edge rushers, even though Drake Jackson does go inside for the NASCAR Packers sometimes. I didn't forget about him. I'm just saying these dudes who, you know, I wouldn't say they're no names, but nobody expected the minute, you know, if you would have told me that Eric Armstead and Kinlaw were going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks, I would think, man, this defensive line may struggle. But the fact that, like I said, that Givens, like you said, Peter, Hassan, Ridgeway, Amenahue, them dudes are doing their thing from the interior.
Yeah, and I wanted to address Damian too, because he was saying wait till week 10 to bring Verrett back. This is the thing that I feel. I think that they just need to be healthy. Like if they're gonna come back, it doesn't matter what week they come back to me, as long as they are 100% healthy, and that, because like we've said in the past, like everybody's made it painfully clear, like you can get hurt on any play. So I just want you to be 100%. I think Jimmy Ward, I think they should wait until he is 100% healthy for him to come back. Like, because maybe not 100%, but because Tayshaun Gibson has played well.
Yes.
He's one of the
Yes.
top rated safeties in the league. And then you got a Funga back there. They're doing fine without them, and especially not for this game. I don't think they should bring Ward. In my opinion, I wouldn't bring Ward back for this game. I
No, he won't play
definitely
this
would
game.
not be bringing back Bosa for this game. I think that they should go in as is. I think like I'd be surprised if we don't see Ambry Thomas starting on that other side. For whatever reason, I really think that they're holding back. They're giving Womack the running back, that we all want to play. I think they're giving him, Jordan Mason. I think they're giving him the Jordan Mason treatment, like and basically saying, hey, he might have missed a look somewhere. So, kid, you got to go over here with Jordan Mason on special teams, and you're going to be, until we absolutely need to bring you in, you'll be over here, like learning and getting better. So I think that they may be giving him that, because there was no reason in my estimation, for them to take him out for Diamador Lenore, even though Lenore he's played well. He got cooked on that slot fade, but I mean that's a hard route for all of those slot corners. But still, I just think that, I think that they may go with Ambry just because they want to get you. You saw it at the end of the last game. I think that they wanted to get him out there and get him some reps, because they figured that they're probably going to end up using him. But yeah, it is what it is.
Thing I will add about Jason Verrett is that, for one, week 10 we can't bring him back then because we opened his window, so he has 3 weeks to practice that we can bring him back. True. If we can't bring him back after that, then that's it. They have to shut him down for the year. 2, Grant posted a video of Jason Verrett working out on the field before the Panthers game, and they had him running, just on the field to test things out. He ran I saw that 30 yards, whatever, twice. And between each ones, he's there grabbing his knee, trying to stretch it. You could tell he wasn't okay. Like, you could tell he has discomfort, that's still hurting him. And then they have him just go right off into the locker room. Like, he didn't even stay out there, keep practicing with the guys. So that he was hurting. You could visibly tell. Like, I watched video for my entire life for the last freaking 20 years. That's what I did for a profession. You can tell he is uncomfortable, that he's not ready, that, I just don't. From the looks of it, I don't even think he's going to be ready, honestly, in the 3 weeks. I'm surprised they even opened up his window this soon.
Yeah, I just want him to be healthy. Like, I want him to be 100% before he even thinks about touching the field, just because he deserves a chance to be to get a. I just don't want it to be one of these things where we stick him out there and he's not ready, and then he just does that, and it's irreparable this time. You know what I'm saying? So it's I want these guys to be fully healthy when they come, and I think that you should be when coming back from an injury like that. I think that with the Javon Kinlaw, I think the same thing. He said it's not a pain issue. He's not in pain. It's just that they knew
swelling issue.
Yeah, it would. He's got fluid in his knee. They knew that they acted like they knew that was going to happen, and and that, to me, that kind of that tells me that they knew that they were going to eventually have to drain the fluid out of his knee. But they were saying that it was a process. It was just part of the process. So I don't think that he's necessarily had a setback per se. I know that him missing games would sound like a setback, but I think that they expected it. And I think that this is maybe a part of the process for him to fully healed. But do you
is this his third year or fourth year for Kinlaw? Is this going into his third?
This is his third.
I'm gonna be honest here. I'm not picking up his. I wouldn't pick up his 5th year option, brother.
Oh no.
It's
not coming.
curtains. It's curtains for him. Show should be over,
I
man.
mean, he was a first round pick. That picking up that option's a good $20 million.
Yeah, yeah,
no
he's
fucking way.
it sucks. It's unfortunate, man, and it's swelled up. It sucks too because we're playing Denver, and that high altitude, the air is really thin there as it is. So I don't know if that has something to do with the with the swelling and the elevation and stuff like that. But the fact that it's a 2.5-hour flight from Denver to San Francisco and it's swelled up so bad. Like, what's going to happen when we play? We have to, like you said, we have to fly across country to go to Carolina. Like, I'm sure that wasn't good. Now we got to fly back home to, after this game to play Kansas City. Is it going to swell up again? Like, it's just like I thought, them shutting him down for the season was supposed to clean all this up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the heck's going on. I just feel like, it's just like some doctor said, usually a 300-pound person, somebody that big, when they have chronic knee issues, usually it's not going to get better, especially with age. You're just getting older.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, man. It sucks, bro.
Yeah. I wish the best for him. Somebody was saying, I saw on Twitter today, somebody was saying, because how Carolina is they put all their good guys on the trading block because they're going to try and build DJ from the ground up. But they mentioned Derek Brown, and they said, what if they trade Kinlaw and like a third for Derek Brown?
Take that all day.
I would take that all day.
All day. And matter of fact, he was
I might give him my second
tackle. He was the first defensive tackle that was picked in that draft where Kinlaw came in.
He was the one I wanted. I was hoping that he fell.
Picked him first, yeah.
Like I was hoping that he fell
all
somehow.
Day and pick up his 5th year option.
Yes. Like I would take that in a heartbeat. And I don't think that I just don't see them doing it.
No.
Because they're not really getting a real big asset back for him. I think whoever does do that deal is probably going to end up giving either a second or like probably multiple picks.
Yeah.
So
I heard that Baltimore called Carolina and asked about DJ Moore.
Yeah.
If they can pull that off and give him another weapon to go along with Mark Andrews, oh my goodness.
Yeah. They were talking about Christian McCaffrey going to the Bills.
Oh my goodness, dude! Oh my god!
But I don't know why they don't run the ball. Like they won't run the ball. And he would be a nice piece to have in the passing game.
I'd have him as a slot receiver.
But no, you could do that. Like, but so quick prediction: Atlanta. We got Atlanta coming up this Sunday. It's Sunday, right? And then like, what do you think is going to happen in this game? Give me a quick prediction of what you see and what's your score going to be. TL.
Okay. Oh, I'll go. I heard that Kyle Pitts is hurt. Which is probably their, you can argue first or second best weapon other than Drake London. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. Mooney Ward's going to take care of Drake London. Like, I have no worries about that. And if Kyle Pitts isn't hurt, this could be a long day for that offense, for that team. Even if we don't have a Bosa out there, like Miriah said, if Bosa's 80%, 85%, don't play them, man, because those groins linger, man. They can go on for weeks if you're not taking care of that properly. So, I feel like groins and hamstrings are the worst because those two injuries just linger, man. Like, you just can't get rid of them sometimes. So I think we'll be fine. I think Drake Jackson, will do his thing if he has to start, and with Ebelcom and Amenahue and all them. If I can give a quick score real quick, I'd probably say, I'm going to say 28-13 Niners.
All right. What about you, Miriah?
I agree about, them not having very many weapons because Patterson's already out. And I mean, he was their offense last season. So, but he's going to be out. I do believe that Pitts will be out as well. So that leaves hardly anybody. And we know, like, up till this point, they've lost, all their games have been really close. They've only lost, by a couple points, whatever. Like, they almost just beat Tom Brady. If it wasn't for some shitty play call,
exactly.
So they would have beat them. So like I just feel like they're just like a mid team, that's just hanging around right there. Like they're not too terrible, but they're not great either. They're like Jimmy Garoppolo of teams. And
I love your little shots, Miriah. Little
I like
side
just
digs. That's a good point too. Deion Jones was just traded too. Their best pass rusher.
Yeah, but like they say, any given Sunday. So like we've seen Chicago beat us this season. So it's not like I would expect them to just go in there and not like the Falcons are just going to lay down and let us run all over them.
For sure.
But I do think that we will run all over them anyway. I'm thinking probably I'll go with 13-31 49ers.
Same as Izzy. That's funny.
Oh, we're not going to run. We're not going to run over them or nothing. Like just 31-13. But yeah, I think that this is going to be. I like their coach. I like Atlanta's coach, Arthur Smith. He has some pretty nice play calls. I mean, with nothing, like, I mean, really nobody was planning on this team on Atlanta doing anything. And not that they're doing anything, but it looks like this team is playing hard for him. And he just has really good play designs. And when we talk about offensive geniuses, getting what he's getting the production that he's getting out of Marcus Mariota and a bunch of young guys is, I mean, that's what you talk about when you talk about offensive genius. Like I just think he's an exceptional play caller, and but their defense is just terrible. I think their defense is terrible. They got AJ Terrell, but
he's a good corner. Yeah.
They can't stop the run. They can't stop the run. I don't think they're good at stopping the run. And and I think that's what's going to be their downfall in this game. I think the two-headed monster of Tevin Coleman and Jeff Wilson are going to be.
That's funny. Two-headed monster.
I think that they're going to come in and do their thing, and I think that it's going to look similar to last week, but I think I'm going to play it safe and say 27-13. I can't go to 30. I don't know why I can't go to 30, but I just feel like I just can't go to 30. It's probably Jimmy's just beat me down so much that I just can't. I can't go all the way there.
We just scored 37 last week.
Yeah, I can see another pick six, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what I'm depending on.
It's going to be Ambry Thomas.
It's I hope so. On our defense to score points because our offense can't score very many.
Yeah. No, that's it's going to be interesting. And even if Atlanta plays angry, because I know they're pissed off about the way they lost. They're pissed. So, and like everybody says, it's still they're going to play hard, and it's still an NFL roster, regardless of how you slice it. So, and it's funny you brought up Mariota because he was the number one guy I had on my radar, him and Tyrod Taylor, but mostly Marcus Mariota to bring as a backup for Trey, because I thought that would have been the perfect backup. But Mariota's been playing pretty decent. Like I said, it's kind of sucks for him because they have no weapons. I mean, Pitts, like Miriah said, you lose Patterson. He's been gone for a couple weeks. Drake London's good. Kyle Pitts has been hurt. Their running back situations, after Patterson's a mess, so it's like they really
have no
running back, man. So it's it's crazy. So I think they, I don't know. I have a feeling we start off slow. I think we're gonna have a slow start. I think it's gonna be halftime will probably be 14-10 or something like that. You know what I mean? And I think, or maybe 13-10, and I think we're just going to explode in the second half for some reason. I think our defense is just too physical, and we're just going to start beating that team down, man.
Yeah, for sure. I can see it. I'm pretty confident in this team at this point. I think that we're seeing enough from Kyle, to have faith again, a little bit of faith again in his play calling, and get some points on the board. I know that the defense had to score for us to get our mojo going, but I still think that Kyle is doing enough, and it's so. But hey, I really thank both of you for coming on today. It's always a pleasure to have family on, and that's what I think of y'all. And but one more time, why don't you tell them where they can find you? They know they can find you on YouTube, but tell them where they can find you on the socials too.
Yep. Thank you again for having us. I had a great time. We have to get you on our channel again soon.
Anytime.
Yeah, just on Twitter, Miriah49Lee. That's where you'll find me. Thank you again.
Yeah. For me, Miriah and I have an excellent show together. It's not good, it's excellent. Me and Miriah have so much chemistry. We have our chemistry is so good, we won't even discuss topics before we start. We just wing it. So that just shows the chemistry we have. But anyway, enough of the bragging. I can be found on Twitter. I can be found at my Twitter handles on the screen here, TL49er Magic _23. I love having you guys in the chat. I feel like it's the same people from our chat. So I love that you guys support all the Niner fam. We appreciate you guys in the comment section. Pete, great having us on, man. Anytime you ask me, I'll try to make it work for you because you're one of my favorite guys on Twitter, man. Like, you keep it real for the most part. Even I got a bone to pick with you, I'm gonna talk to you backstage about.
Oh no! But, God knows what I said this time.
but on the real though, everybody is good. I appreciate you, Pete. You've been a good dude ever since we met on Spaces. You always kind of have the same mindset when it comes to what we're seeing with the team and stuff like that. Miriah, you already know how I feel about you. You're my girl. So yeah, everything's good, man. I appreciate you guys. You said, what did you say, Miriah?
Whatever.
Yeah, y'all the married couple of Twitter. I tell you,
married couple of Twitter. We fight like cats and dogs, but love each other at the same time.
Exactly. It's all love,
my Twitter husband.
Yeah, but it is what like I said. I love having you guys on. I treat you guys like I think of you guys like family. TL, you were one of the first people that I had on my show as a guest, and that's always going to be special to me. So. Yeah, I just always appreciate you guys and all the love you give the channel and all the love that you give for everybody, all the content creators. So, but yeah, one more time for everybody, you can get my show on YouTube. You can get not the Niner Fanatic podcast on anywhere where you can get your audio podcast. You can get it there. Just doesn't matter how you get it, just get it. And I'm starting to put shorts on Instagram and on TikTok too. So look for Niner Fanatic podcast on that. You just got to look for Niner Fanatic podcast on those two. So, but we're going to get out of here. But as always, we always like to leave it off with go Niners.
Go Niners.
Go Niners.